What's up guys, this is Sean and today we are in Eco Tropics, Kota, Masai. Now Eco Tropics and it's around 3,000 over acres. And what's exciting about this part of the land is actually this upcoming highway, which is the Senai-Desaru highway that is actually going to change the entire game for this piece of land. So in short, basically Ecoworld, right, is actually having several flagship projects in Johor itself, and one of those is Eco Botanic closer to Iskandar area. Then you have Eco Spring and Summer, which is in the central Johor Bahru area, right? And at the east side, which is actually Kota Masai, and that is called Eco Tropics. Okay? You can see that there's a lot of residential components. Then the usual signature for Ecoworld is the landscape, the parks and things like that. But today a different approach is we are going to look at their shop lots, their shop offices, because I think we have seen a lot of Ecoworld's residential components really, so they have to make a change, right? Sure, if you can see, the entrance from Ecoworld is always their signature move, which is the crazy gate and double boom security. And now all these faces here is actually named according to gates. So it's Green's Gate, and then you have the latest phase, which is Breeze Gate. They also dress up their retention pond into a beautiful park that always people use. You can see it's all landscape. Then you can see the houses here is all strutted. And in accordance to the sales team, right, the users here are all okay with stratified because most of them are first-time home buyers, so they are not familiar with the individual type of ownership. So they are okay with maintenance as they are actually more used to this kind of landscape, open kind of development. That's very new to me. Currently, if you notice in the sales gallery as well, there's a lot of people because of the HOC campaign. It has made things a little bit more affordable for their users, and I think it's a good thing. Hey guys, so now we are in Millsgate, the second phase that is about to hand over, and in total, right, there's a lot of residential and most of them are still terrace houses because there's still no need for high-rise here. However, what you can see here at the end is actually a back alleys for all the houses. Facades of the houses here as well, right, is also a little bit more themed in comparison to the individual title houses surrounding the place. Apparently the youngsters here, they really favor the extra effort such as the bicycle lane, the landscapes, the theme architecture, the double boom gate security, so the themed street lights and things like that. All this seems to be getting momentum from the market here. Now we are in Eco Vantage, their shop office, right next to the highway, which is the intersection. Shop offices are always for commercial use, that's why the material specs are actually very different. Point number one, floor is actually cement rendered, because sometimes when you come in, right, you want to put your own tiles, you want to put your own carpet in accordance to your tenant's brand identity. All this, it's actually up for them to do it themselves. Point number two are actually roller shutters. So roller shutters are actually very common in shop offices. Mainly it's for safety, so people can actually break into your shop, but then they kind of adopted this kind of very fancy windows and a glass door. Point number three is actually the ceiling height. So ceiling height is very, very important for certain industries. Like this one, I think easily is around 3.8 to 4.2 meters, and then you have a mezzanine floor. So for this height can both be a selling point and not good point, because it increases aircon loads, which is electricity bill, but if it's a cafe, then it makes a lot of sense. Point number four is actually you need to know that usually commercial units, right, is actually three-phase electric, right, so it actually allows higher usage of electricity in your unit. What I like is the very tidy beam system, and there's a very long span. See? There's a very long span, at least I don't get columns in between the units. Because this is cement rendered, right, but this might not be the end surface that the new tenant wants to use. Maybe they want to tile it up or they want to put carpet, right. If you want to lay another like 2mm or 4mm tiles, right, this door might get stuck already. So the advantage is these units, right, are actually individual titles, so you don't need to conform to any, you can change these directly. So it's a good and a bad thing lah. However, in accordance to the theme, right, some people like this, which is the sun shading, kind of a characteristic element to the facade, but some people actually have comments about it. So, okay, for shop lots, the staircase width is actually a very important element that's often overlooked because the experience of going upstairs is the one that actually concerns a lot of people. So here you get the letterbox, right? And this 5 feet stairway somewhat feels okay, but it's very standard, cement rendered. And a very common issue for shop lots, right, is actually this. Okay, this height, right, I don't understand what you can do with it. Because the main concern for stairways, right, is actually very narrow and actually very dark. I wish this could be a window to actually allow more daylight into the space. Okay, coming into the second floor, it's around 700 square feet for the mezzanine floor for the intermediate unit. I think this one is around 1,200 for the corner unit. And if you know how to use this space, it's actually a very usable space. And the good part about mezzanine is actually you can enjoy this experience of overlooking downwards, which actually feels kind of cool. At the back of the unit, you can actually have this balcony space that actually overlooks the entire back lane of the shop offices. What I like is they actually allowed for a drain for the balcony, so they actually allow water to go out. And if you observe the end lot as well, right, the amount of opening is actually quite surprising to me. So in conventional shop offices, right, there's no such openings like this. The reason is because it's costlier to actually put glass and aluminium, right, in comparison to brick walls. So this is actually extra cost for the developer, and they actually put it in to make the interior space looks better. If not, 70 to 75 feet depth, right, actually looks very dark. So the corner lots and end lots, although you need to pay more, but then your indoor space actually looks better. There will be 2 toilets at the back of the unit, and it's actually all stacked through the 3 stories. And all 3 stories has access to the toilets. There's one for the guys and one for the ladies, right? And they even give this, which is the basin, and also this top. Wow, very rare. Usually, it will just give you the steel one, right? And it's a very decent height, not as high as from the ground floor, but I think this is a very suitable space for offices. Okay, after the mezzanine floor, now let's go on to the highest floor. This is seriously super wide. You can seriously, and this actually awesome shop office space, right? Because of the scale of it. Don't you think? Just look at it. Wow! But bear in mind, this is the corner lot. But if it's an intermediate lot, it's 2270, so you need to kind of discount like a quarter of it. Okay? At the front area, there will be a compartment space to actually put in all your aircon compressors. So this is actually an aircon latch. Then for the highest level, the access to toilet actually looks like this. And as well, there's a basin. One basin. The toilets are actually tiled up to 5 feet, right? And then you have ventilation upwards. Points would be the ceiling height is rather low on the highest floor. However, it doesn't feel so bad because of the windows. So if you look at the windows are almost all full height, right? That gives the impression that the ceiling is actually very high. Okay? Points are actually provided already, so you don't have to really redo your plaster ceiling again. So I think that's still fine. I think that's all for the unit itself. Let's go and check out the surrounding of this Eco Vantage. Let's go. The reality for shop offices is actually based on frontage only. So if you look at the units that is actually facing the main road, is always the highest one in terms of price. So what Eco Vantage has is they design into 2 parks to actually indirectly create frontage, where you can have parks like this that actually attracts people to come and chill here and you can still see frontage of the shop offices, right? But the price is actually very different. So the one internals here are actually around 700 over thousand, and the one facing the front road is actually 1.2 million. So I think that's all for the tour. It's now time for Sean take 3 on 3. Three things I really like. Number one is actually the Ecoworld brand. So the way how they treat the entire environment is really identical with the KL treatment Penang as well, which is from the landscape, from the security, from the branding, from the roads, from everything else, the wayfinding, everything is all very uniform, and it brings a very good feeling before even reaching the site. Point number two is actually the highway itself, which is the new Desaru Senai expressway. If you look into Johor map, right, the only way that east side of Johor can actually access to the west side of Johor is via this highway called Pasir Gudang Highway, and during office hours it's one of the worst highways to actually travel. So this new highway is actually an alternative, although you need to pay toll, but it's way faster, way smoother, and it's directly connected to this Eco Vantage. The highway is actually scheduled to be announced on September, so we get insider news, somewhat insider news right now. This Eco Vantage do or die actually kind of depends on the opening of this highway. Third point will actually be the attempt to be different in these shop offices, which is the amount of glazing as well as the tidiness of structure. People don't usually pay a lot of attention for beams and columns arrangement in commercial units because what matters is actually the location and frontage only. But this is different. They actually put a little bit more effort in terms of the beams and columns, toilet finishing, ceiling height, because if you actually arrange the columns and beam tidily, you still get that bonus 100 to 200 mm of height. Then also if you look at the corner lots as well as the end lots, the amount of opening is really amazing, and those are actually very rare. Three things I don't like. Number one, if you really understand the history of this site, this is actually the OG, the number one Uno site for Ecoworld, because this is where they are actually born in terms of acquisition of this company called Focal Aim. They bought over and they rebrand, and this is actually inherited. That's why you can see in terms of facade, in terms of treatment, it's not very Ecoworld, but I think they tried their best. They actually tried to innovate in terms of not changing the BP plans details, right, in order to compromise the launch. So I think it doesn't have the DNA so much of Ecoworld. Number two is some of the architectural details of the unit itself. The wiring, I'm not sure why is it that chunk of black cables, right? It's actually so huge. Third of all will actually be the surrounding, but this can actually be fixed with time. You can see Tropics is trying their best to actually build up the community here via building the new school, building up new developments, building up a lot of other things. So I think with time, all these infrastructures are ready, this dynamic will actually change. So I think that's all for this episode. If you really like this video, like it, share it, and even subscribe for more information like this. This is Sean Tan from JB signing off.